Okay, guys, so for today's Freeform Friday, since I didn't have it busted out on Wednesday, those, reveals and other things going on, I totally forgot it was Wednesday, to be honest. But anyway, I didn't do anything busting out, so I'm going to do that today as much as I can. And since it's Freeform Friday, I was cleaning out, my kitchen, doing some different things, and I know I had held on to this tea canister that's empty. And I was like, I need to put this in the recycling. But then I thought, well, that might be cute to decorate. So we're going to decorate this. Now, if there's anything I'm using that I have links to, they'll be in the description box. And those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. And you guys, the description box, I get this question almost daily, or people say I don't see the links. They are under the title, under the video. It depends on how you're using this, but if you expand that description box where it says show more, or there's like a little triangle, sometimes you just click the title again and it'll open it up, and that's where all that stuff is, and that's where any YouTuber puts any kind of links or any extra info. The comments are just for comments. Sometimes I'll pin a comment, but that's because I'm saying something about the video, so you can see it real quick, but that's not where you put links, okay? I don't even think, YouTube allows them and doesn't allow them sometimes. It's just, whatever. So even how to post it there, they don't want you to post them there. That's all. And so what we're going to do is clean this up. I try to get as much of the little tea dust that was in there out, but there's still a little bit. But either way, I'm just going to decorate the outside of it right now. And so there's a few things we need to do. So I did grab this trim at the Dollar Tree not too long ago, but long enough that I haven't used it yet, so here we are. This one is open, and this is like my favorite design of this stuff. It's metal trim, and it is legit metal, but it also bends. So it's really cool, and what I was thinking of course, is like lining this edge and lining the bottom. And we just recently did the ephemera swap, and I have such pretty things. I think maybe I can, help cover this. Of course, I'm going to cover it complete with paper to begin with, and then build up from there. And it'll be a little gift thing. Maybe if you want to cut a hole in the top, if you're good at that, you can have like a little piggy bank, or a little thing to hold change. Because I'm always, whenever I do have dollars, which isn't often, I do always have like a lot of coins in my purse. And then one other thing, so we have measurements we need to do. Now, I'm not going to cover the lid. But what I mean by that is, like, I'm not going to cover this. I'm just going to take this stuff off, and hopefully it comes off really nicely. It looks like it might. Sometimes when you have something sticky like this, honestly, if you breathe on it, like put your little hot breath on there, it'll help peel it. So, if it's getting really sticky. And then, take the rest off with, like, Glue Gun or something else. But let's see how well this comes off. That is not bad. Since I'm not going to cover the top, I'm not too concerned right now with like trying to fix this. But again, I just take that little last bit of gooiness off, that little, where you can kind of see where the label was. So that is done. We're just going to not use that. But I will put it on here because what we need to do is see how big we need to cut a piece of paper. And there's so many papers in my head that I'm like, oh, that'd be so cute to cover it with. But let's see. So it's about 5 inches, but not quite. So if I go right to the top, to like right inside this lip is where I want to be. I would say I'm going to cut my paper here at 4 and let's see, 7/8. Maybe a little bit bigger than 4 and 7/8. Okay, just so that I can get it right to the top. And then just down here, again, we're going to place this. So honestly, this is going to cover quite a bit at the bottom. You're not even going to see it. So 4 and 7/8 is probably good, even if it's a little bit short. So let's say 4 and 7/8. Now, how much paper do you need? Now you can take a tape, which is probably what I'll do. Well, maybe not. So you guys know circumference and these kind of things, like 2 pi r, or I always remember circumference equals pi r squared, which doesn't make sense, but it does make sense because you're going to double the radius. But we don't need to measure just radius because that's going to be kind of crazy, right? The radius is in the center out here. Just when you have math problems, sometimes they only give you that that number. So you need to double that and then multiply it by pi, which is like 3.14, and a bunch of numbers that keep going on. But let's say roughly 3.14, right? So we don't want to do radius. We're going to do this complete diameter here. So this is about 2.5 inches, I would say. So 2.5 times 3.14. I'm gonna go get my calculator and do that. Otherwise, just again, get out a like a seamstress tape, or a tape, a measuring tape, and then just go around the whole thing and give yourself an overlap, right? So I'm gonna go get my phone and do 2.5 times 3.14, and it'll give me roughly the number I need, and then I'm gonna add like another ½ inch or something, okay? But I'll be right back. On a piece of paper in my head? Yes, of course I can. But 2.5 times 3.14 roughly is 7.8 inches, almost 8. It's almost 8 inches. Let's say 8 1/4. So I'm going to cut a piece of paper that I think is pretty by 4 7/8 by 8 1/4. and then we'll see. Now, of course, if you're like, oh, well, I started here, and if I just roll it around, you guys know that's not actually going to work for us, but let's pretend. And let's see how close we get to that number. Hey, not bad. I would probably cut it at 8, but we're going to do 8 1/4, so. Okay, I will be right back. Curiosity, let's see what we did. So again, 4 7/8, and it is a little short. That's why I was going to make it a little bit bigger than 4 7/8, but then I remembered this was going to cover that, so we don't care about that so much. And let's see the moment of truth about 8 1/4. Oh my goodness, you guys. I probably should have had it 1/2 inch because I thought, well, I'll add 1/2 inch overlap, but look at that. Actually, that is perfectly what, like, oh my gosh, when I glue this down, you're not going to see that. That is too funny. No overlap, but just there. So let's say you have the same canister and you want to do this. I would say do 8 1/2 just so you have a little overlap, but honestly, this is like the perfect measurement. Oh my gosh. Too funny. Okay, I'll be right back because my dryer is going off, but I'll be right back. In the meantime, I went ahead and plugged in my glue gun because I will definitely need that. You know, you want to do some inking or other fun things, go for it. I'm going to put this over here. That is too funny though, so I'm definitely going to make sure this is stuck down really nicely. And you know, just pick a spot. Like, where do you want to just use, you know, what they have as the center here? I suppose, why not? I'm not even taking like this off or anything like that. What I'm going to do is try to put, now I can put the glue on the paper obviously, but I think I'm going to go a little bit at a time because I really want it stuck down and I really want it to meet up, right? There's the other thing. So this paper really has the design like this because it's not meant for, you know, this kind of thing. So thought it was kind of interesting that it was hard to pick a piece of paper that's not like, oh, that's the focal point of it, you know, in this paper pack. This is the Secret Garden paper pack from Crafter's Companion. So that's kind of a bummer. I really want this first part to really stick down before I really move on too much. So I'm just going to massage this until it's like nice and flat. Okay, guys? So that's what I'm focusing on right now. And then I'm going to stick down that metal stuff with the glue gun. The other thing about that metal thing, I don't know if there's going to be a beginning and an end, like where I might have to cut it like in the, you know what I'm saying, you would like it to be kind of in here and nicely, but I don't know. So maybe I'll switch out to a different type, you know, one of these other kinds where it's less noticeable. So that's how I'm going to do this because that's just how I'm choosing to do this, but I'm going to put a little glue at a time and I'll come back to visit with you guys once I get to back to the front. Okay, so I'm just put a little glue and keep sticking it down. Okay, I'm coming back around this side. I do want to mention this, that I'm sticking this to is actually a label. So I'm just putting glue right up to that. We could have taken that off. This is a label. The tin underneath is actually tin. So if you want to remove that label and then add it on, obviously whatever thing you're trying to upcycle, just pay attention to that if you want. I don't know that I actually wanted to stick this to tin metal. You know what I'm saying? That's why I left the label on. But you can definitely take it off. Okay, I'm going to hold that down and we're basically done with that part. And we'll just go from there. Aww. Okay, I'm just making sure this is really nice and stuck down. So I'm just going to keep my hand there and I'll be right back. Okay, so I took my husband's sweater sleeve and just really rubbed everything down really nicely. And so there you have, yeah, just a little upcycled, some pretty paper. The paper that's on here was pretty anyway, the tea paper, if you don't want to upcycle in a way that still shows kind of what it was. So let's see about this. This is what I was trying to say. And then also, are we using this as the front, you know, the back? So like that's where we're going to end. That's fine too. And again, with this one, we can just measure out the 8 1/4 or so, right? But what I want to see is kind of where it would end, and maybe I don't want to, you know, where do I want to cut it? Oh, wow. So what I'm trying to see is how I want to split the difference. It's there. This little guy here. It almost touches the one piece to the other. But I suppose, you know, this is your call. Like, it's almost right there, but it's not quite. So like if I cut it here, it kind of goes to there, or let me see, I don't mind cutting it and seeing kind of where we're at. If I cut it off a little bit like there. Ooh. What I'm trying to say is where that one stops and this one ends. You know, it's almost the same shape, but not quite. So what I could have done is cut into this one and cut a little less of that one and try to make it match up a little bit better. But I think I'm okay with just that. And what I'll probably do is, so it looks like it just goes from one to the next, is just cut this little piece off. And I'm using my Tim Holtz scissors because I cut metal and horrible things with this. They are so thrashed. And for me, that's what they're for. Okay. Very good. Let me see how big this is. And I'm going to try to cut another piece that's basically the same. It is 8 and it's almost like 8 3/8. Just about 8 3/8. So, like on this one too. What I want to do is basically cut it the same is what I'm trying to say. So let's see. We have about 8 3/8. So this is going to be kind of like the other one where it's a perfect this little part. But then the other guy, I'm going to cut this little extra bit off from the one we just cut. So I'm just making those adjustments, but of course it's whatever you like. Okay. Now, a little tricky. I'm going to do my little gluing and just a little at a time. So I'm not putting too much. I don't really want it to squirt everywhere, like to squeeze out. And I'm only putting at the very edge of this. I'm going to hold that down. It kind of wants to go in a circular manner anyway because it came off of a circle like spool or circular spool. But we want to hold those down. Make sure it wants to go where it wants to go. And just being very careful with putting my glue as far in as I can get it there. I'm right at that ridge where the black line is there. And I'll just continue doing that until we get back to the front or the beginning. I'm going to pick this up just a little bit. So there we go. I want to get some more glue in there. It's not really staying down. And I'll pick off that extra glue. I'm going to hold that with my long nails. And this one got a little bit wonkier, but that's okay. And I'm going to do the same thing at the top. Hold on, don't glue down quite yet. There we go. So these guys are loose. I didn't try to bother to stick them down. If you want to stick them down now, just put a little glue behind each one, you know, as you're going along. But that seems problematic. Oh, look at that. All I did was push it in there and there we go. So I'll do the same thing with the top, starting in what I consider to be the back, and just putting glue right to the very rim. And I mean, if you want to take this off so you see where you're working, but you see how the tin is metal? How the tin is metal. Is the tin metal? That's awesome. But that's what I was saying. You could take off that one piece of tag label if you wanted to. Labels, I guess I should say. Look at that. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing at this top part, but facing down like this. Put the glue, you know, and then more and more. Just the same thing I just did. And now I'm back. I did the exact same thing on the top. Just ended there again. Just try to make it look as natural as I could there as it came together. I think I'm gonna leave my hot glue gun on for a minute because I don't really know what I'm gonna do. And this is the back here. So I'm gonna do something here. So I was looking through some of the folders. I have this one here, and I don't think it has a name. Well, does it have a name? No, not this one. But you know, you guys, I went through so many, I don't know exactly whose or everyone's, but I like this. Oh, is it still gonna work? Let's see. Ooh. Let's see here. That's the back. I don't think you really have to worry too much about what the back and the front is, but look at that. And then I did leave these alone so that if I wanted to, I guess I could tuck this down in here if I needed to, right? Ooh. Having said that, this one's really, really down. There we go. Like if I move that up and then got this one also tucked back in here, you know, it could be there. Pretty. I can go more towards the middle. That's over here. Oh, I guess split the difference. You know, just put it right in the center there. This one's kind of a little bit off though, that's too funny. Aw, that's so cool. Okay, I think that's what I'm gonna do. We'll go with this one. And that's a little bit tricky because this one has a lot going on, but I'm going to put as much glue on these little areas. It's not 100% necessary, but I really want this area to have the most glue. And then I'm going to poke through and see what else, and you know, is this for an occasion, or are you just going to have it ready for when you do need a little something? That's what I'm looking for, but I'm trying to keep my finger where the center of it in the back is. And I'll place this here in the front and just hold it down that side. And then I'm going to pick this guy up a little bit. Get it back behind there. Same thing with this little guy. Pick it up just a little bit. And I'm just going to hold that down. That's pretty. Okay, so I'm going to hold this down for a little bit and I'll be right back. While I was holding that down, I went through this folder, and I believe this one's from Natasha because it came in yesterday and it was one of the last ones I looked at, so I recall the name. And I have this pretty little tag that says Dreamer with the pretty flowers. Now the flowers in the background are just kind of like irises, I guess. But I think I'm going to stick this down. And you know what? I'll stick it down with some hot glue. That way I don't have to sit here holding it too long. And again, you know, we could stick other pretty things in here if we wanted, like underneath it, or maybe line it with some lace or something like that. I just want to make something a little bit simple. And then I need something chunky on here. So I'm going to hold this for just a second and keep looking through and see if I find something else that I would like to add, maybe even from the any other swap. But anyway, I'll be right back. So I pulled out this one. This one is from Bernie. I know she has Bernie Burns a Files. I know her name here is longer on YouTube. And the first thing I saw in here, I remember she had this beautiful butterfly. Now, if I knew who I was giving this to, I would definitely put this on here. Like, what a stunner, right? Like, I mean, that's woo. But I don't know what I'm going to do with it quite yet. So I pulled out these flourishes because I remember she had some gold flourishes in here. I thought it would be lovely. So I was just kind of looking at those and trying some out. And I think that'll be the end of my little project. Just add a little something. Now you can leave it sticking out like that if you wanted, right? Just to have a little more drama. But I think I'm going to glue it down completely. And if you still want something that's more, you know, what's the word? Like dimensional, obviously you can add some beautiful flowers or lace or whatever it is that your project, you know, calls for. I think that'd be really fun. I'm just going to kind of go in here with a little bit of hot glue. And I like the way it looked in here. So you see that from the front and then going towards the back over here. So I'm going to hold it down. And everything I've kind of been holding it down by like cupping it with my hand because obviously it's rounded. What a fun project. This is so sturdy. It feels so nice. I mean, you know, just pop some little treats in there. Like I said, if you're really good at something, maybe you can cut a little, make it into a little coin bank. Lovely little coin bank. And then when I let go, if anything looks like it needs to be held down more, like right here, I'll just add a little hot glue and then hold it down again. Okay, I'll be right back. Last thing. A while back, a sweet lady here had sent me a ton of bows. And I just had this one. I thought, oh, that's really sweet, the little cream color. Looks cute. But then, you know, this one has like that peachy pink coming back in here. So I think, oh, that'll be cute. So I'm just going to add that. And that is it for today's project. Again, you know, just some pretty paper in the background. I didn't even use that as inspiration, like, oh, everything has to be irises. It's just back there. You don't even see the lock and all that stuff anymore because it's the way it's covered up. I think we did a pretty good job, guys. Did a little math, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. But there it is. Super sweet, upcycled tin that, again, can, you know, come back to life as, you know, put more tea in it. Now that it's all decorated and it's your favorite tea, now you have this one. You can keep putting the same tea that you put, you know, that you came from here, which from you was that cinnamon cardamom. So good. And still smells amazing, which I really like. And just have fun with it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope everyone's getting their swaps in. I think they've already started being delivered yesterday even. And you're going to see this on Friday. So hopefully most people have their swap in. Fun way to use that trim from the Dollar Tree. And yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.